So this was a fun one. It's gotten a much better reaction than I expected it would. This was one of the ones that I was considering was weaker than the
I
others.
see you following me.
Ryan, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I was worried that this one would be a little weaker than the others, but it's gotten really good response. So that's encouraging. As I was waiting for where that last scene would come in, yeah, from the trailer. Does anybody catch the French swear words at the end as well? Phoenix asked me on the day. She's like, "Does anybody know any French swear words?" And I told her how to say shithead in French, and so she's calling her a shithead. Yeah, get out of here with promoting your merch, Alan. We're on Rob's channel. I put a bunch of people in the comments are like, is Alan in the outro just because he's not in the videos? he's worried that people have forgotten about him in D&D Logic. That was your favourite episode so far, Faye. That's good. I'm glad. Yeah, I need to wear the t-shirt, my merch t-shirt, or add hats to the range, that's right. Zbira's runs roll a lot funnier when you know the campaign. Yeah, it still tickles me to cast him as the rules lawyer, given his lack of understanding of the rules in the actual game. I didn't know what she said, but I knew she was swearing. Yeah, she calls her a tête de merde. Tête de merde. I want a Robert Hartley beanie. That'd be pretty cool, actually. I want a Robert Hartley beanie. So let's have a little watch through, or should we go to the? Actually, let's just pause here for a second. I'll take you over to this. I should have done this in preparation, but I forgot because I'm not a totes profesh. I'll pull up the. I will pull up the script, which would be under Drive. What are you doing? Hello. As someone who has a little sister, this was brilliant. Yes, well, I have not officially said it in any of the skits yet. Like it's not mentioned in any of the skits, and it probably won't be. But given their audition, Phoenix and Tamika did such an amazing job in the audition. We were playing around with different ideas of like different. I was basically just giving them direction to see if they could take direction, and we settled on this dynamic that worked really well between the two of them. Like gave them a lot of chemistry and stuff. If once I asked them to consider themselves sisters, so their characters aren't sisters. They're like Ovak and Lavinia aren't sisters, obviously, because one's a halfling and one's a half orc. But the people at the table who are playing Ovak and Lavinia are sisters, and so that's why they have this rivalry where they keep sort of digging at each other. And so I'm glad that came out as a sisterly dynamic there. All right, let's have a look for the script. Where would it be? Is it in this one? D&D Logic. There we are. Season 1 scripts. All the drafts. Don't cut it. First draft. So this is the script to the first edition, first draft of this one. It was one of the older ones that one of the more recent ones that I wrote. Here we go. It's one of the more recent ones that I wrote, and it was. I've mentioned before how I needed to sort of catch up, with a couple of. I needed not to catch up. I needed to extend the number of scripts that I had. So they started out with 10 scripts for season 1, and then in the pre-production we decided to make it 12 scripts for season 1, and this was one of the other 2 that I wrote. I think last week's and this week's was the... What was last week's one? I remember talking about this last week, so it must have been last week's one. Somebody remind me what was last week. I can't remember. Too much stuff has happened since then. Phoenix mentioned in her last stream that Tamika has also been very close after, and they've kept in a kind of sisterhood and less competitive way. That's good. That's good. I'm glad they get along. IRL. Fun fact, I'm French and didn't understand the French swearing at the end. We don't use this. I didn't expect it was that much, but I know that somebody, at least one person in the comments, has caught it. 1 HP was last week, yeah. So it was 1 HP and Don't Cut It that were my newer scripts. So they came in much more fully formed than the other scripts have done so. So it won't be that changed. I think it only got to like 3rd draft before it got on camera. So not a lot will have changed. Interior, Goblin Camp Day. In a forest clearing amid a goblin camp, a druid is tied to a tree with rope. 2 goblins sit nearby, speaking in goblin. Suddenly an arrow streaks through the head of one of them, and a hand axe slams into the other. Rogue, barbarian, ranger, and cleric walk into the camp. Druid, good. Lavinia's come to rescue me. Hey now, we may have our differences, but if you get kidnapped by goblins, of course I'm going to come help you. Rogue walks over to the tree where Druid is tied. Druid is almost touched for a moment, before Rogue walks past her to where the felled goblins are. Because goblins can carry quite a bit of coin sometimes. Cleric walks over to Druid and tries to untie her while Barbarian and Rogue are looting. Are you okay, Ovak? Did they hurt you? No, I'm fine. They just took my things and tied me up with my own rope. Hey, that's mine. Is it? Because it seems to belong to the goblin I killed, which makes it mine. Lavinia? Hey, no, those are the rules that we set for looting. No, I'm just asking for your help untying this knot. Do you have the nimblest fingers here? Oh, sure. She walks over, draws a dagger, and cuts the rope. Whoa, what the nine hells are you doing? Relax, I'm not going to stab you yet. I'm just cutting the rope. Yeah, my rope. What? This is my rope, so you just cut it. You were tied up, now you're not. Are your fingers broken or something? You can't pick a knot? This is quicker. Why are we in a rush? There's no goblins around. You couldn't take, a minute to untie me? I'm sorry, I thought it would look... No, go on, you thought what? I thought it would look cooler. It's what they do in all the stories. Yeah, maybe if you're rich. Do you have any idea how much a rope costs? 1 gold piece of 50 feet of 10 gold pieces of 50 feet of silk, which weigh £10 or £5 respectively. Place handbook, page 150. Pause. Thanks, Darren. See? 10 gold pieces this cost me. It's more than we made off the last 2 jobs combined. Well, maybe more than you made. Why are you getting so heated about this rope anyway? Because we've been tracking this centaur tribe for about a week now, meaning we're at least a week away from anywhere we could buy another. Well, I said I'm sorry, alright? I'll take extra long to untie you. 1 minute. It would have taken you like a minute. Jeez, just think. Sits down on the ground and begins casting mending on it. What are you doing? I'm casting mending on my rope. You have mending? Yes. Why are you giving me such a hard time about cutting it? Because it takes time to cast the spell. How long? A whole minute. Okay, now I'm going to stab you. Cleric jumps in to grab her. So very similar. 2 major differences are this one, Rogue's response to Lavinia. Oh good, Lavinia came to rescue me. Of course I'm going to come rescue you, because goblins can carry quite a bit of money. And a little bit in the middle here about it looking cooler. I thought it would look cooler this way. Like she's imagining herself as a badass, just like walking over and rescuing the damsel with a swipe of the dagger, cutting the rope. The first part was dropped, all of this, hey now we've got our differences, but blah blah blah. That made it through all the way to filming. We filmed it, but we didn't get enough angles of it, and I didn't realise it at the time. This was the one that was almost rained out. It was the first skit to film in this forest location, and it was the last day of filming, and it was already starting to rain, and we knew that we needed to get 10 skits today, so I was kind of pushing along. That skit, that shot at the end where she's like with the dagger trying to stab her, and Eric's holding her back. That one was a shot that we had that I really wanted to get but we were already over time, and so that was the shot where I was like, we need to get this shot because it'll look great with her going rah. And the technical director said, if you need this shot, then you drop in a shot from the next one because it's how time works. And I was like, that's fine. So I dropped a shot from episode 2 in order to get that shot in episode 1 in whatever the episode 6 of her doing that with the dagger. But what we didn't realise, unfortunately, until it came to editing, is that we never got a clear shot of Phoenix saying this line as she walks forwards. And so the only take of it we had was the wide, where Phoenix walks into shot after shooting the goblin. And she goes, "Oh, goody, Lavinia, blah, blah, blah." And we cut back to the wide where we see her tied to the tree, and then Lavinia walks into shot and walks all the way up to her. And then we've got a side shot as Lavinia walks past the camera saying, "Goblins carry quite a bit of coin sometimes." But we kind of lost it in the dialogue. It wasn't clear, and we didn't get the good reactions and stuff, so we dropped it from the cut, unfortunately. Because that would have been a nice joke to have in there. I just wish we'd remembered to get a shot of it properly. The other thing is Barbarian. Barbarian was going to be in the background just looting, but and he got ready for the shot like he was there on the day, obviously, because he's in episode 2 and a couple other of the 1 HP and everything. So Barbarian was meant to be there. He got all dressed up for it and makeup on and everything, but then it starts raining, and with all of that makeup, a single drop of rain hits your face and tracks down your face, and now you've got a streak of greyish blue paint down your face that looks quite clearly like you're wearing makeup. And so we said, like, is it necessary for him to be in the shot? Nah, it's not necessary for him to be there. Let's use a minimal cast as possible. It's just going to be the 3 of them. It's just going to be Rogue, well, 4 of them: Rogue, Ranger, Cleric, and Druid. And it was bad. It was hard enough already keeping Adam out of the rain with his blue face paint. So we decided Barbarian wasn't necessary for it. And also the hand axe thing, when one of them's killed by a hand axe, that was going to be thrown by Barbarian, but it was like, Ranger's there anyway, so he can be the one to have shot. So Rogue shoots one, Ranger shoots the other. And then I thought it would look cooler this way. I cut that before the. Did I cut that? I think we filmed it just for safety, but we cut it from the edit very quickly because it just kind of dragged the whole thing. The pacing was off. It needed to be a little bit more like back and forth. So there was a little bit of this dialogue that we cut out just to get to the point, just to get to the punchline a little bit quicker. Alright, let's head on back to the other side. Head on through to the other side. I still love the episode even without that motivation joke from Lavinia. Yeah, it's still a good one. It still works. I love this. So it's a nice shot. We decided early on, and I've said this in all the behind the scenes so far, like we've started every episode on like a close-up of some sort of action happening, and this is obviously her struggling against ropes. So it's like a stylistic choice that every episode starts with, like a close-up of something happening. I love this close-up of the makeup as well. The makeup looks really good. So the special effects here, obviously, this is a stuntman, and we had the arrow already sticking out of his head. We had the arrow already sticking out of his head, which actually you can kind of tell. If you go through one frame at a time, you can tell that they've not completely gotten rid of it. Like you can tell that it's translucent all the way to his ear, and then they've left the bit in his ear. But then they've like CGI'd the arrow coming in at this point and hitting him. Wham! But this part should really have been gotten rid of, I guess. Don't know what's happened there, but it's for literally one frame of the thing, so nobody's going to notice it. So he's got his arrow sticking in his ear, and then he reacts as if it's just hit him and falls off camera very convincingly. And this guy throwing himself backwards as well. This is what I love about stunt performers. You're just like, You get hit by an arrow in the chest. And he's like, yep, all right. Wah! Pow! Slam. Cool. Can we do that again 4 more times?
Oh, goody. Lavinia's come to rescue me.
So we originally had the... It would go, oh goody, Lavinia's come to rescue me. And then it would come back to this shot. As Rowan walked forward from this side of camera and looted this guy. So Rowan shot this guy and Lavinia shot this guy. So Rowan walks forward to get this one and Lavinia comes towards the camera. It was only in this shot that we got her dialogue of that first line, which is why we had to cut it. And then we had the sort of reverse on Lavinia from later in the episode, like one of these sorts of one of these sorts of things, but she walks past sideways and says, "Oh, because goblins have a lot of coin," and the line just got lost.
Lavinia's come to rescue me.
Are you okay, Ovak?
So it works fine. You can see Theron loots this guy, Rogue loots this one, and Cleric does his patient, caring, kind, helpful thing. I love that I love just like the little things that we put in there to kind of like reinforce who their characters are. Cleric is very much the mother of the group. He's kind and caring and thoughtful, and he's the one that's going to be like, I'm going to go help our ally before I start looting for things.
Did they hurt you?
No, I'm fine. Just took my things and tied me up with my own rope.
Ooh, a cool sword.
Hey, that's mine!
Is it? Because it was on the goblin I killed, so I think that makes it mine.
Lavinia?
Hey, no, those are the rules we set for looting.
I can't remember if it was Phoenix's idea or mine, but I'm really glad that we came up with the idea to have her drop the French accent and have her be like, this is her breaking character at the table, being like, no, hey, rules. It's also one of the only times that you see somebody other than Rowan talking in games mechanics, like the rules for looting, and it makes sense that she's like dropping character to do so. It also helps with the no, I don't want to call it a problem, but it helps with the concern of her French accent. She was concerned that her French accent was not good enough. And I was like, it doesn't have to be good enough because it's your character at the table putting on a French accent for her character in the game. Democos is your favourite? Nice. I bet the rain put a damper on your feelings of godlike powers. There was an Instagram story on the day of me being like, I feel like a god. I've walked into a forest and said, oh yeah, this area, this particular clearing would be good for it. Can we make this look like a goblin camp? And then I turn around to talk to somebody about something, and before I know it, it must have been like 10 minutes have passed or something, and I go, okay, yeah, let's do that then. Let's lose barbarian from the thing, and then turn around and there's a goblin camp there, and there's a skeleton tied to a tree upside down, and there's like the detail on this camp. Let's take it back and show you. Like all of these pillars, these like stone pillars, are from Dark Souls. The Dark Souls stuff. They're made of polystyrene, and then you've got a skeleton of somebody tied to a tree upside down. Poor bastard. You've got a cauldron. The costumes on these guys are amazing. You've got the things strung from tree to tree that gives you like your canvas, your tent. It's incredible stuff. And it was put together in like 10 minutes. They were like, oh, make it look like a goblin camp. The stunt people have been awesome. Yeah, stunt people have done a great job. I just noticed the necklace. Is that her druidic focus?
Oh,
it could be, yeah.
A new adventurer droid.
She's got a real nice necklace on. Mythical Turian, thank you for bringing in. Who is this? Kalima. Yeah, her necklace is like it's a nice necklace, but she's also got one of the jawbone from an animal or something that we thought was probably her druidic focus. Although, having said that, she casts from her staff, so it's probably her staff that's actually her focus. You can make it whatever you want it to be. In your head canon. Nice way with the accents, it's a great detail. Yeah, it's
Mine.
Lavinia?
Hey, no, those are the
French
rules we set
accent's
for
very
looting.
convincing.
No, I mean, could you please come and untie this knot? You've got the nimblest fingers here.
Oh, sure.
I don't think my Russian accent's entirely accurate, but that didn't stop me from putting it on for Dila when I was playing. Everybody else in the voice call was geeking out over it. Regardless, it's always fun. Yeah, put on an accent. Put on an accent for your character. Don't worry if it's terrible, because you're not doing Russian. You're doing a Russian-inspired accent of an orc, and maybe that's how orcs speak in your world. So whatever, or a Goliath or whatever. Mythical, thank you for gifting out a total of 36 subs now. What up, Spidey? How's it going? We haven't talked about the rope story yet. So now that Spidey's here, I can tell you that the inspiration for this entire episode came from Spidey. Spidey NZ. So shout out to Spidey. I'm a full-time dungeon master, not only for Viva la Dirt League and here on Twitch, but also for hire. I'm not currently taking commissions because I've got just so many things in my life, so many projects on. But one of the people who commissioned me early on, when I was open to commissions, was my good friend Spidey NZ. He hired me as a dungeon master for a group of friends, and that campaign is ongoing. We haven't played in several months because of the lockdown, and I'm really missing it. Looking forward to getting back to that as soon as possible. But they're all very fun, good role players. They really think about the story and the characters more than the mechanics and things. They like to take time to flesh out scenes and stuff. And so one of the things that happened during that campaign was they were interrogating some bad guys who they were undercover roguish types. They disguised themselves as law enforcement, and then they'd use that disguise to get close to their victim, and then they did something terrible. Then these guys came back and found out that they'd done something terrible, and confronted them and said, "Hey, you're not really knights." And then they fought them and incapacitated one of them and interrogated him in a barn. And he was all tied up. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly if it was this moment or not, but somewhere or another they got somebody tied up. And then after they were going to let him loose or kill him and dispose of his body, so they needed to untie him. Whatever reason, they needed to untie him, and the rogue walked over and slit the rope. and then one of the other party members, whose rope it was, went, "What the fuck are you doing? That was my rope." And he's like, "What? I just cut the rope." And he's like, "Yeah, but now you've cut the rope, and we're not exactly in town. We've got an hour's walk to get back to town, and we were going to stay here tonight." And so I just don't have a rope now. And he's like, "Oh, can I say that? Can I say that I untied the rope instead?" And I said, "No, you cut the rope." Shit. And so he kept bringing up from that point on. They kept bringing up the person whose rope it was. Kept bringing up the fact that they've got two halves of a rope now. Whenever they went down into a dungeon, even before they got chance to go back to town, they then discovered from what they'd learnt from this guy that there was an underground plot that took them down into a cave system. So they went down into a cave system, and they had that one of them had no rope on him, or rather he had only two half ropes. Yeah, he did the gesture and action of cutting a rope. You can't undo. So he did this. He cut the rope. They went down into a cave system. They kept needing rope to abseil down parts of the cave, or to tie up more bad guys or whatever. And the guy whose rope it was kept bringing out and making him feel bad about the fact that he has only half of a rope now. and it was several sessions later that the druid looked at his character sheet and went, "Oh shit, I've got mending." And I think it was for something else entirely. He was mending the clothes that he'd gotten torn up. Oh, that's it. They fought a rust monster, and one of the guys got some rusted armor, which was lowering his AC. And so he walked over to him and he was like, "I'll cast mending on your armor and I'll mend it up." And then one of them was like, "You got mending?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Have you always had mending?" And he goes, "Yeah." It's like, "What the fuck?" And he holds up his two pieces of rope, and he's like, "What the?" Yeah, it's great. And it's things like that in D&D that I love playing. I love playing games of D&D because stuff like that happens, and I go, just open up my notes, add that into D&D logic ideas, and done. I think there might have been one other thing in this season that was inspired by that same group as well. I can't remember which one it would have been. It wasn't backstories or turn-based, 1 HP, or long rest. I can't think of one that was inspired by them yet, but this certainly was. There's an idea. Is it too spoilery to give you an idea of one that I'd like to? Nah, I'll keep it to myself for now. But yeah, that one's funny. That one's similar, but very funny as well. Those have been inspired by pretty much all the games that I play. Man, I'm looking forward to. I really hope that they greenlight season 2 soon, because there's some really funny ideas that I'm quite pleased with that I want to get onto camera. But yeah, this particular episode was inspired by Spidey and Zed's group, and I'm really looking forward to lockdown lifting to the point where we can actually start meeting up again. Should now be paying Spidey for his content. I hope at some point you do a skit about really off-the-wall thinking, like feeding a potion of comprehension to a Sasquatch. That'd be too specific to work as a skit, unfortunately, Sparrow. Has to be vague enough that people who don't play D&D understand what you're talking about. It would make an awesome animation, yeah. If I ever get uber wealthy through doing my D&D stuff, I'll hire Spidey as an animator to animate some of these D&D stories, things that have happened. Maybe in the style of Dingo Doodles, with instead of like playing live on camera, you animate stories of your D&D stories. Animate particular anecdotes of your D&D stories. All right. Let's go through it. Let's keep going through it.
Go.
I love that she's got daggers just like up her sleeve. She's got so many daggers. She's got these throwing knives in her bracer. She's got a dagger in her sleeve. I think she's got a couple more in her belt as well. It's very rogue to have just like a dozen daggers that you pick up. It's like, why have you got so many daggers? You can only do two per attack. Yeah, but this one's a +1, and this one's a poison dagger, and this one's a dagger of venom slaying. It's something or other, and this one's just got a cool design with a jewel in it that I like, and then this one's got, and I picked up this one when we killed that wizard, so it's got sentimental value. Have you ever tried Pathfinder? No, I haven't, not yet. Cypherus, I'd be keen to. Dag is a big Pathfinder, so I might play Pathfinder with him someday. In fact, I'll be starting in a campaign with Dag soon. That is technically 5th edition, but he keeps introducing. We went through the session 0 for it the other day, and he was introducing a whole bunch of stuff that I was like, "Is this from Pathfinder?" So I think I'll be playing in like a Pathfinder mutant soon. Rogues daggers have daggers, yeah. Just ran a one-shot today, made my program where it gave us random items from the equipment page of the D&D websites. The party got quite the eclectic collections. Tempest Cleric got an antimatter rifle. The bard got a longship. The rogue got a vial of wyvern poison, and the druid got a ladder. I think the druid got a shaft on that one. An antimatter rifle and a longship and wyvern poison. And the druid's like, yay, what am I going to get? A 10-foot ladder. Yeah, one of them's a dagger of warning. A dagger of warning like Greg has and forgets about all the time. Some daggers are better for throwing, in case you don't get them back. Yeah. Why does Greg not use his dagger more? Because he's a farmer and he's much more comfortable with a trowel. And his trowel does the same stats as a dagger.
Hey, what in the nine house do you think you're doing?
What in your 9 house do you think you're doing?
Relax. I'm not going to stab you. Yet.
I'm just cutting a rope.
Yeah, my rope.
Huh?
This is my rope.
So?
So you just cut it.
Yeah, you were tied and now you're not.
Are your fingers broken or something? You couldn't pick a knot.
This is quicker.
Why are we in a rush? There are no goblins around. You just killed them all.
What?
Do you have any idea how much a rope costs?
So that's obviously where you've cut the this is where we cut for speed and like snappiness of back and forth. She cuts her off there, but she's literally cutting her off, like literally cutting her off, because this little stumbling.
There are no goblins around. You just killed them all.
What?
What I is the start of her saying. Well, I just thought it would look cool. What? You thought what? I thought it would look cooler this way. It's what they do in all the stories.
Do you have any idea how much?
But I was like, you know what? For pacing, let's lose that line. Let's actually have you cut in the middle of her line and overlap the dialogue a little bit so it sounds like Ovak's just cutting her off.
Much a rope costs?
1 gold piece for 50.
You just killed them.
I love that he comes out of nowhere from behind the tree as well. Like it's like in the other skit with the Not My Turn, when she's like, get out of the way, and then she ends up having to dodge and then he just comes in from the side and he's just like, you know, you could have readied. I just like that he's just always at the table, just leaning over to the player, just telling them how they should be playing the game.
What? Do you have any idea how much a rope costs?
1 gold piece for 50 feet of hempen, 10 gold pieces for 50 feet of silk with a weight of 10 pounds and 5 pounds respectively. Player's Handbook, page 150. So
that took quite a while for him to get. He was just like in the background throughout the whole start of this. Whenever he wasn't on camera, he was just like 50 feet of... Wait, what? 10... Ah, shit. What is it? 10 feet for 1 gold of rope. No, what? What am I doing? Page what? But he got it. Nailed it in the end.
What he said. Thanks, Theron. See? 10 gold pieces this rope cost me. That's
It's
more
a
than
very
we made
what's
in the
going
last
on vibes. What's going on? I love that they're getting so wacky with that in the board series. I love that he's just like coming out of nowhere. God, I'm coming up from between them. What's going on? Expensive rope. That's the cost in the player's handbook.
2 jobs combined.
Well, maybe more than you made. Look, I don't know why you're getting so heated about this rope.
Maybe because
rope
we've been
made
tracking
of
this
gold.
centaur tribe for about a week now, meaning we're at least a week.
A centaur tribe? What a weirdly strange detail to put in into the dialogue as a throwaway remark. It's things like that centaur tribe line that will tie the whole 10 arc into a story by the end of the season, hopefully. You'll be able to come back and point to little details and be like, oh, these are standalone episodes, but there's also kind of an ongoing campaign that you can get hints of as they're if you go back and watch them after the whole season's done. I love how Rowan's the one knowing the rules here. Yeah, that was definitely an intended joke on my part. So rope is expensive. That kind of the point of this joke is that you're not only like it's not just because you're ruining equipment, but it's like specifically about rope. Like as a million people in the comments have pointed out, Lindy Bage, who is an amazing YouTuber, who does he does sort of fact checking and myth busting of medieval shit. He talks about medieval stuff quite a lot. He talks about weapons and swords and armor and things, and he talks about factual inaccuracies in games like D&D with history. He can be quite a boring sod. He can go a little bit too far sometimes, where he's like, it's like, all right, mate, just chill out. It's a game. But for the most part, he's got some very interesting points, and he does have one video that I watched years ago that probably inspired some of this subconsciously, where he talks about how in movies and things you always see people cutting rope, but rope was actually very difficult to make and very expensive for that reason. Like rope, a decent length of rope was expensive because of the amount of work that it goes into to create a rope by hand. I don't know if anybody here has ever woven a rope by hand, but I have. It is a very arduous process. I did it at drama school once, just for out of boredom mostly. I wanted a rope for a scene that I was in with something, and I didn't have any, but I had some like fibers, and so I wove a rope out of it in my downtime while I'm sitting at the side watching other people's scenes. Vacuuming, fun. I'll give it like a couple of minutes, see if they're done with the vacuuming, but otherwise I'll tell them to shut the fuck up as I'm streaming. There we go, that's getting better. He's closed the door. So yeah, I've woven a rope. It takes a long time, and they're expensive, and so yeah, it's understandable that they would if you've got silk rope, which is already a very rare and expensive item, silk, and then you've also have to pay for the manpower of someone to weave that into a 50-foot rope of it. Then 10 gold pieces is probably acceptable. I'm not sure if it's worth paying 10 times the price for the rope just so that it weighs half the weight, though, because that's the only rules as written difference between hemp and silk rope in D&D, is that silk rope weighs half the weight that hemp rope does. But given that very, very few D&D games ever actually consider encumbrance and weight limits and things, why not buy a hemp rope? I like getting silk ropes just for the roleplay aspect of it. It feels nicer and it's easier. It's easier on the hands to climb up and down, and I consider it to be a little stronger, even though there's no rules that says that it's stronger. And also in my characters, I tend to actually keep a track of my own weight limits and things. Puts the whole cutting the Gordian knot story in more significant light. Remind me of the story, Moscow? That rings a bell, but I'm not familiar with it. I was so distracted by those teeth, looking like they were about to fall out any seconds. Yeah, we're definitely, for season 2, if there is one, we're definitely going to have to do something about Tamika's fake teeth. We're going to have to get her some specially moulded to her teeth, I think. Get her some that she doesn't have to worry about falling out, some that she can actually talk through. I did it at drama school out of boredom and ended up even more bored. Yeah. I've seen videos on occasion of people taking a shortcut using a drill to make rope. Yeah, and that could work, but the problem is you need to wind each fiber, say clockwise, and then wind the 3 fibers together clockwise, anti-clockwise and clockwise. Because if you just go with 3 fibers, they're going to want to unravel and they're not going to stay as a rope. You can't because that will turn them. That will turn each individual fiber clockwise as the entire triple helix is going clockwise as well, which is not going to work. They're going to unravel. All of the tension of the different individual fibers are going to be wanting to unravel anti-clockwise. So you need to turn each rope anti-clockwise and then rope individually clockwise. And then once you've got that, you've got 3 of those, and then you go them anti-clockwise again. And then once you've got 3 of those, you can do them together in a clockwise dimension, and you can just keep going, like making the rope thicker and thicker until you've got like a cable of rope, whatever length you actually need it to be. They're not studs, they're only rivets, is the most important criticism of D&D armor ever, of course. Yeah, talking about studded leather armor. Riveted leather armor. Riveting argument. I don't know why we're vacuuming the stairs. Is Ben one of the characters? Yes, Ben is in the series. He is playing the Furbolg Monk. He's been in episode 2 and episode 1 of the others. Can't remember. Ben's definitely been in it. The videos are tracking very well. I think there'll be a second series. Yeah, the videos are doing very well, as well as their other content, if not better sometimes. But I don't want to assume. It's all fine. classical mythological story. I forget most of the details, but some deity or spirit had created a knot that was nigh impossible to untie and required people who wanted the quest reward to untie it. The hero comes along and cuts it. That's right, yeah, that's right. That sounds more familiar now. Maybe Greg can craft as a drill, yeah. If you just twist instead of rope braiding, they'll unravel. I do it with my hair, same principle, yes. You have a good day too, Spidey. Look forward to gaming again in person for sure.
A week away from anywhere I could buy another.
I'm sorry. I'll take extra long to untie you next time.
A minute. It would have taken you like a minute. Now, pay up.
What?
What do you think? Pay me 10 gold pieces for a new rope.
Oh, come on. That's outrageous.
Lavinia, you did make her pay for that dagger she lost.
Hey, okay, no, that was different. She threw that on purpose.
My poor rope.
Fine.
Just think in future.
I love that as well. I love that she's got like this what's a word for it? Just this attitude. She's got this attitude about everything she does. In the Not My Turn episode, when she's like, "Are your legs still working?" and she does like a little squat and looks down at her legs and like, "Yep, seems like it." There's like a little sarcastic kind of a passive aggressive just attitude about the way that she moves. And then that as well, where she's like, she just hikes up her skirt. I love this effect as well. Let me move my head out of the way. I love that. I love that as she's moving it around, like the effect actually moves from
What are you
hand
doing?
to the thing.
Casting mending on my...
Very cool special effect. Casting mending on my rope.
rope.
You have mending?
Yes.
Then why were you getting so heated at me about the rope?
Because it takes time to cast a spell.
How long?
A whole minute.
Okay. Now I am going to stab you.
Alright, catch up with you guys.
This should have been an outro for Phoenix and Tamika saying, "We play D&D, and you want to see your antics like this? Follow us there." But they went, "Hey, we've got merch out. Let's promote that here instead, and also get Alan on because he's not in the D&D series."
Later. Oh, hey.
Alan
It's me.
totally.
Alright, catch up with you guys later. Oh, hey. It's me, it's Alan from Viva La Dirt League. We now have some pretty sweet new Viva merch available. Check out the link below, vldl.shop. If you've always wanted to wear 1,000 Viva logos, we've got you covered. It's really high quality, it's great stuff, we're super proud of it. Check
1,000
it out.
Viva logos. Robert Hartley also has merch, FYI. Lavinia paid for the rope. She should have taken it for herself. She should have done so. She should have paid her for the rope and then not been like, "Hey, that rope's technically mine now." But why would Lavinia need another rope? She's probably already got one of her own. Rowan gets mirror image. Rob merch. Wearing the hoodie now. There you go. We've got testimonials from real life people, not paid actors. Because actors aren't real people, obviously. You have Rob merch with 1,000 Rob logos on. I don't. I'll have to make a t-shirt like they have with just my RH logo just on it 1,000,000 times. Do you have a mug that says Tressums are resistant to poison damage? I'd buy one of those. No. On the bottom it says stupid Tressums. Or says and detect invisibility. So that was that. What else can I tell you about this particular episode? It was the last episode that you've seen of the last episode that you will see of the this location. We filmed 4 on this day. We filmed this one, cutting a rope, or don't cut it, or whatever I called it. We filmed the turn-based combat next. Then we filmed long rest, the start at the end of it, and then the start of it. And then finally, while we were all bloodied up, we finished out the whole season with filming 1 HP. So they were all in the woods. They're all in the same area of the woods. Interestingly, I've been rewatching Almighty Johnsons, which is the TV show, the New Zealand TV show where Emmett Skilton starred, and sort of got his big break as the lead in this this series about Norse gods in reincarnating themselves as Kiwis. It's a weird premise, but it kind of works. And the scene where he gets his powers in the first place, as they're walking through the woods, and he's about to, like, it's on his 21st birthday, and he holds up a magic sword and gets struck by lightning and getting his Odin powers. I was like, this looks awfully familiar. I think they filmed it in the same series, same woods as well as where we filmed all of this. So it's pretty funny for Emmett to be back there. So in those 4 episodes we filmed them here. We've also seen the other location with the tavern. The first episode was filmed in the same location as we filmed the actual D&D stuff. We also have a couple others in that area. Rules Lawyer was filmed in that location.
I see you following.
Herbie Hoover, thank you for the follow. And Not My Turn was filmed in that location. So now we've seen all of the episodes from 2 of the 3 locations, meaning that the last 3 episodes of the season, last 4 episodes of the season. Have we got 4 more? Was this episode 6 or episode 7? This would have been episode 7, wouldn't it? Whatever, whichever one it was. Episode 7, I think this is, because I think we've got 3 more, haven't we? Those are the last. This must be episodes. Yeah, 4 from this location, 3 from the last. This must have been episode 7. So we've got 3 more episodes, episode 8, 9, and 10, and they're all in the last location, all in the church location.
24. I see you.
Thank you for the follow, Levi Berg. Can you just start filming in nature in New Zealand? What if you want to film somewhere but you don't know who the place belongs to? You got to find out. That's the job of the location scout, to find a place, find out what the rights are of filming there. Whether you can, if it's a public place, you can film there. This is episode 7. Yes, the title of the stream is 6. I thought it was 6 until I just worked it out. Ricora, what up? Cool. Well, that's all I have to talk about this episode. I look forward to giving you another behind the scenes next week of episode 8. It's a good one, episode 8. You'll like it, I'm sure.